Hey guys, Toast here. Today we're going to review and discuss the Martini-Henry, the level 10 lever-action rifle available for 200 war bonds for the Scout class in Battlefield 1. We'll discuss the stats of the weapon, attachments, the situations in which the weapon excels, and some tips when playing with this particular weapon. While this won't technically make any difference with this review, I would like to note that the Martini-Henry did get a substantial decrease in effectiveness a little while back. However, it should be noted that according to DICE, the Martini-Henry was never intended to be as powerful as it was prior to these changes and was actually a glitch. The performance of the weapon currently is how DICE anticipated it to be, for better or worse. As with all level 10 weapons for each class in Battlefield 1, there's only one variant of the Martini-Henry, which, in this case, is the infantry variant. This weapon has a maximum damage of 100 and minimum damage of 70, which means it has the lowest minimum damage of all rifles with infantry variants. As with the vast majority of scout rifles, the Martini-Henry has a damage arc rather than just a drop-off, with the weapon dealing 90 damage from point blank out to 20 meters, increasing to the maximum damage of 100 at 30 meters, and then beginning its descent to its minimum damage of 70 starting at 80 meters. This means that the weapon is only a one-shot body shot kill from 30 meters to 70 meters. The rate of fire is the lowest of all infantry variants at only 38 rounds per minute, and the muzzle velocity is also the lowest by far at only 440 meters per second. By comparison, the next lowest muzzle velocity is 620 meters per second, with all others being 700 meters per second or higher. The weapon has a really high vertical recoil of 10 degrees, and again by comparison, all other infantry variant rifles have only 2 degrees of vertical recoil. However, the horizontal recoil of the Martini-Henry matches the others at only 1 degree. The spread is also the same as all other infantry variants, with no spread while aiming down sight and standing still, and only 1 degree of spread while aiming down sight and moving. The reload is a significant difference between the Martini-Henry versus other rifles. Where all of the infantry scout rifles are loaded with individual rounds, the other rifles are capable of holding a certain number of rounds in a magazine before needing to be reloaded, as well as being loaded with strip clips, where the Martini-Henry is only capable of holding 1 round at any given time, which means it needs to be reloaded after every shot. That wouldn't be so bad, however, each round takes 2.3 seconds to reload, which means you're going to be hard-pressed to get off any follow-up shots with this weapon if you find yourself in the position to need to. The attachments for the Martini-Henry don't differ much from what we've seen from infantry variants of other scout weapons. You have the options of 2 types of iron sights, both standard and radium. The magnification ranges from 1x up to 2x, and you have the option of attaching a bayonet for melee kills. The Martini-Henry really needs to be played at mid-range in order to benefit the player. Because the weapon doesn't reach its maximum damage until 30 meters, you'll either need to secure a headshot or go after an already wounded enemy in order to secure a one-shot kill at close range, and because the weapon has iron sights, low magnification, and very low muzzle velocity, those long-range kills are really going to be hard to properly line up, though admittedly incredibly rewarding when you actually do hit them. I wish that I could say that this weapon really filled a niche that other weapons for the Scout class don't, but unfortunately that isn't really the case. While it does have the highest damage at close range of the Scout Rifle infantry variants, tied with the Gewehr M95, the default iron sights don't really feel like they do the weapon justice, as they're not as accurate as you'd hope for a weapon that depends very heavily on the user's accuracy. That said, I had more luck with the default iron sight than the radium sight, because the radium sight blocks more of your target, so despite the standard iron sights not being perfect, I would probably stick with them over the radium. However, that of course ends up being personal preference. Like the other scout rifles in the game, you have to pay attention to what part of the body you're aiming for with the Martini-Henry. The same limb and lower torso multipliers of other weapons apply, so if you hit an enemy anywhere but the head or upper torso, you will not be able to secure a one-shot kill even at the range where the weapon deals 100 damage. While this would normally be able to be remedied by taking a relatively quick follow-up shot, because of the fact that the weapon needs to be reloaded between every shot, the likelihood of the target either getting behind cover before you can take another shot, or retaliating and taking you out is unfortunately pretty high. Because of this, make sure that you're very comfortable with the secondary that you take with you, because you're going to be swapping to it even more than you would with other scout rifle infantry variants, particularly in close range. My personal favorites to carry along with me are either the M1911 or the Mars Automatic, because I'm very familiar with how those pistols work and their versatility, but because of the high damage you'll be dealing at the range which you should be using the Martini-Henry, pretty much any secondary will do as long as you hit one shot with the weapon prior to swapping to your secondary. Be ready to compensate a lot for the low muzzle velocity that this weapon has. Even at medium range, you'll find yourself having to both aim higher above the head of the target, as well as compensate more by leading your target in order to hit the shot. I'm honestly at a bit of a loss as to why DICE made the muzzle velocity so low on this weapon without giving it anything else to boost it back up to being competitive, because no other infantry variant of scout rifles in the game requires you to compensate so much, yet they're all still capable of producing one-shot kills. This is also the primary reason why I would not at all recommend trying to use this rifle to pick off long-range kills. It isn't challenging enough that you have low magnification, iron sights, and slow follow-up capability. The fact that your bullet is going to take significantly longer to reach its target and require more compensation to do so makes you less of a threat and more of just an annoyance against virtually all other scouts. But I want to know how you feel about the Martini-Henry in its current form. Do you like the weapon and feel it's viable, or do you feel as I do that there are better options for the scout class? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Toast, and I'll talk to you soon.